Hello, Steven Universe fans. We are back after a 6-month hiatus. It is good to be here. We are covering episodes 84 through 89, and we'll see you after the opening.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
It is so good to be back. I am so excited.
It took Cartoon Network long enough,
I was gonna say, when you were like, "Oh, we're finally back," I wanted to go, "Woo!" But I wasn't sure A, if my mic was on, and B, if that was appropriate. So,
I think an off-camera woo would have been great.
That would have been pretty great. Well, I've had crazier cold openings. Let's be completely real. Like the mics are live. Are they? Are they really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've definitely had delirious cold opens before.
Yeah.
It's a fun and interesting thing we do at the studio, you guys, and we hope you enjoy it. Welcome back, Steven Universe fans, to the AFTERBUZZ TV Steven Universe After Show. We are covering episodes 84 through 89, which is kind of the beginning, middle of season 2, because what is numbering?
Sure.
Season 3?
I was gonna say
season 3. You're right.
I was gonna say, I believe technically this is season 3, episode 6 through 11, but it's very difficult to keep track of episode numbering and season breaks because
Cartoon Network is just like...
Well, exactly. Steven Universe has never really had a consistent airing schedule, and every time that it threatens to have a consistent airing schedule, they take it away. So it's amazing to me that this show has sort of gained the following that it has, and it's just a real testament to how strong the writing and storytelling is.
It is a ridiculously good show.
Yeah, it's really good.
I genuinely feel bad for anybody who was a fan from the beginning because I binged it towards the end of last year.
Season 1.
Yeah, and so I can't imagine what it was like starting from episode 1 in season 1 and then just having to wait till this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'd like to tell the people who are tuning in for the first time who we are.
That might help you.
The wonderful Emma Fyffe.
That's me, Emma Fyffe. I can be found all over the internet, wherever Emma Fyffes are sold, at my name, Emma Fyffe.
The glorious Megan Salinas.
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at @themengwin. That's TheMenguin.
And I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet. We are checking the live chat. We are checking the hashtag. That is ABTVSU, because I am a firm believer in alphabet soup on my shows. If you have something fun to say, throw it in the live chat. Throw it in the Twitter hashtag. You may well get a shout out. We got 6 episodes to burn through, you guys, so we should man alive. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I actually saw Steven Floats a good chunk of time ago because France aired it, and then you couldn't get away from it on the internet.
I was going to say, I actually kind of wasn't sure if Steven Floats was part of this chunk of episodes because of precisely that.
And I couldn't figure it. I was like, okay, what is... And I had to check with my friends because I was out of town and disconnected from the internet all week because I was at a work conference. And they're like, no, we had 2 episodes on Monday and then 1 episode the rest of the days. I'm like, oh, so we're starting off confusing. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But as a way to sort of kick off the return for this season, it was such a cute return to form episode.
It definitely was. Though there was one thing. So when I was watching it, like the first time it aired and then rewatching it, I'm pretty sure, or maybe I was on drugs, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure that, because you know how in the opening now, when you see Connie, she's in
got
her
her sword.
casual clothes and's got the sword, but I'm pretty sure in the opening for this, she was back in the dress with the hat, and so I was really confused. I was like, I must be watching the wrong episode.
You're watching the French one because France still has the original opening.
Oh, well, there you go, France. Way to confuse me.
No, you did see that, but you're watching the French version.
I got you. So if I had watched it in America, which I did, but it was via France.
Poor France, because that means they weren't treated to the new opening.
I know, yeah.
And also, side note, even though we got a new opening for this season, we're gonna need a newer opening soon because the cast has expanded.
We have
quite a little
Peridot
bit.
and we have Lapis, and let's be real, Jasper is coming back at some point in time.
Yeah.
So
that is Chekhov's gem right there. She's coming back.
Getting back to the episode itself, this was such a nice return to form. To see the old formula comeback of Steven encounters a problem about his discovers a new power.
Thing about his powers,
and the 3 crystal gems that we were initially introduced to have to help him so that he can get his donut.
Yeah.
It was such a chill, relaxing episodes. It was just 10 minutes of kind of sitting back and feeling good. It was the comfort food of Steven Universe episodes.
It was coming home is what it was.
Yeah, I mean, literally, that's how the episode started, was that, they all appear back at the temple, and Steven's like, yay, we're home, and then it was.
And then shenanigans ensued.
Exactly, as it's wont to do.
I have to say, I loved his monologue about who will get my donut, and then just ending with, and then I die.
And then I'll die. And then just the bones fall from the sky. Alas, poor Steven, I knew him well.
It's just my floating powers tied to my emotions, just like all my stupid powers. Okay.
Which I actually really appreciate, because I feel like for the most part, whenever you have like a superhero or somebody with magical powers that are tied to their emotional state, I feel like for the most part that's like a girl thing, where it's like, you need to learn to control your emotions because you're a girl and these are your powers.
But men just get to punch things.
So I really like that. Like that's a legitimate thing for Steven.
Yeah.
In the chat, there's a lot of discussion about sort of the inconsistent airing schedule of Steven Universe. Aaron Loon says that he thinks that Steven Universe isn't attracting the demographics they want, so they don't bother putting forth the effort. And there's conversation about how, like, but fans love it, cater to fans, and put things up on YouTube right after they air and make it accessible to people. But I wanted to transition into K-Bits, who has a fun headcanon to share. I have a headcanon that gems, because there was some discussion about how the gems they're technically not female. Like, they don't really have a gender per se.
They don't really.
But K-Bit says, I have a headcanon that gems have always called each other she, and when they came to Earth, humans adopted the term to refer to women because the gems look like human women.
That's great headcanon.
I just wanted to share that.
England has a Garnet accent.
Yeah. Yes?
Yes.
England. Okay, I got it now. I was like, no, but Garnet is an English accent.
No, other way. She was there first.
So she's basically like the original Queen of England.
Hey.
I'd buy it.
I am down. Do you have anything else to hit on for Steven Floats? Because it was cute, but there's not a heck of a lot to talk about. Just go watch it.
I
It's
really
just
wanted
chill.
donuts after watching this episode.
Fresh donuts.
That's an episode I put on when it's like, I'm having a bad day, I want to feel better. Okay, 10 minutes later, I'm like, I love everything, and also I want donuts.
Yep.
That is
Just
life.
really good comedic timing in this one. It was very funny. Amethyst was on point.
I have to say, these next 2 episodes are 2 that I have been looking forward to ever since we got the title drops for them. Drop Beat Dad and Mr. Greg. I've wanted these for forever. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Greg fan.
Yeah.
I freaking love Greg.
No,
Universe.
I love Greg as well.
He's
Absolutely.
great.
I love that they brought Marty back. He's an awful person.
he's terrible.
But that was something that was sort of dangling for fans to go, oh yeah, who can put 2 and 2 together? It's like, oh, Marty is Sour Cream's dad.
Yeah.
Is that ever going to come back?
Yeah, and then it comes back.
This is the thing, is that it's something I know that we've touched on this show before, that one of the things that's so bold in a way about Steven Universe, that it really is just realistic, that it portrays adults who make mistakes and like parents who are not good parents. Greg is a good parent. He is trying his absolute best to be a good parent. But like Marty comes back and he's awful.
He won't even
Marty's
call
a
his
terrible
son
human being.
son.
Yeah.
Or
He's like,
by name.
Right.
He didn't
once.
If you watch their introduction again, when Sour Cream recognizes him as dead, he goes in for a hug.
Yeah.
And instead, Marty goes and he's like kind of not sure where his hand should go, so he sticks his hand out to shake his hand and then pats him on the shoulder. He won't even give him a hug.
Yeah.
Never calls him son, is just calling him S.
My little DJ.
Yeah.
I will say, I love that we got
My
to
friend.
Don't Be Selfish, and Sour Cream just goes full yellowtail
Yeah.
on him. Like, oh, I needed that. Those were good emotions.
Well, yeah, I mean, because in
Yellowtail's actually been there
Yes,
for
Been
him.
his real role model. Yeah.
Yeah, and that it teaches again that idea of like blood is not thicker than water. You know what I mean?
So here's the thing about that idiom. We misuse it at this point. The full
Yeah.
thing is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. And it's supposed to be
Right.
the people you choose to be your family
Yeah.
are more important bonds than the people you're
We've
stuck
been
with via
misquoting
genetics.
that idiom.
We have. That's why you keep an
hilarious.
English major on the panel. I
Listen.
find weird stuff.
Listen, one of the defining characteristics of Minako in the 90s version of Sailor Moon was that she constantly got idioms wrong, so I feel okay about this.
No, all of American culture is getting that idiot.
That idiot. All of American culture
For
is
those
getting
of
that
you
idiot.
not watching this live, it is definitely 10:30 p.m. on a Monday night right now, and it's been a long day.
But speaking of
That wasn't even funny. We're all just dying
Yeah,
up
it's
here.
fine.
But speaking of Minako, I was actually thinking about what you said time and time again on the Sailor Moon Crystal After Show while watching these episodes about, finding your own family.
Yeah.
And that is very much what this show has been about, especially in this set of episodes.
And also, I mean, in this case, in the case of Sour Cream, it was like him discovering that he really did have this loving kind of father figure in his adoptive father.
Well, and Yellowtail hustling his buns to go get Sour Cream's equipment and be like, "Look, I'm
Was
sorry,
so
the other thing didn't work out, but I
cute.
want you to succeed."
Yeah, and when like Sour Cream got really mad at Marty and started like yelling at him in Yellowtail speak,
Yes!
it was great.
That
just
was,
hearing Brian Posehn go, "Mama, Mom, Mama, Mom," it was really great.
that to me, that was just the pinnacle of the episode. Was that little
Yep.
emotional bit because
Yep.
that you don't have to spell out. And he takes after his stepdad because his stepdad was there for no. It's just it flips into that, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, and also the recognition from Yellowtail that he hasn't been fostering this passion either.
Yeah.
And we don't have to understand a word of dialogue on his end of thing to get him to understand that seeing Marty come back into Sour Cream's life, he's like, oh, obviously I want the best for him. I want him to have a viable career, but ultimately I don't want him to be taken advantage of either.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. And again, you see, I as Katie has said, like, I love the character of Greg so much, and it's like you see both him and Steven being affected by how Sour Cream is kind of being changed by his biological father, who ultimately has nothing to do with him or the way he turned out because he did not raise him.
Yeah, when'd you get so tall? Like 9 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not to mention, he is also, like, he's also just clearly not the brightest bulb in the shed because while watching it again a second time, I was like, there was totally a way he could have played both sides of this to his advantage. He could have done this and been like, and this event is sponsored by Guacola. And by the way, son, I got you a great sponsor. Okay, now wow the crowd. It's going to be great.
Right.
That is all he had to do, but he didn't care.
I don't think he's dumb. I think he's selfish.
Completely,
and that
yeah.
overrides everything else.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was certainly under the impression that he was using Marty, that Marty was using Sour Cream for his own sort of selfish intent.
Oh, yeah.
He saw an opportunity to be in front of a crowd, and he had this, and again, he says he has this good, like, thing going with Guacola. Like, that's the truck that he's driving around in. It's not really that he's been successful in the music business at all. It's that he, like, sold out for some disgusting avocado soda.
And as we can
soda.
see,
my God.
advertising is where he's made all his money.
Correct. Yeah, Sarah Anderson.
Real talk, guys.
This is
Real
this
talk.
was a while back, but I
Sarah's
just
in the chat?
yeah. Sarah
Hi,
says,
Sarah.
"How dare Marty soil the good name of avocados?" I agree with you, Sarah. Avocados.
They're not
and-
even good on chips.
which is
God bless
unbelievable.
Ronaldo. That was hilarious.
Unbelievable to me because avocados and guacamole are delish.
Can we talk about one of my favorite moments in there was just the mic check. This mic looks great.
Yep.
There were a lot of
Yep.
really great one-liners, in particular, like, what is this, a concert for ants?
And then the reply,
God, I said that every
aunts,
time.
uncles, music is for everyone.
Exactly.
I love everyone in this bar. And the thing that killed me was the laminated business card.
Yeah.
Because how dumb are you? Half the point of business cards, you want a blank backside, or you want at least a blank space on there where you can write extra information. A phone number, an email, a Twitter handle. I met you here. We talked about this. Like, just something. So it's not just, oh, here's a piece of paper.
Yeah.
AfterBuzz presents networking advice.
Seriously, I once received a business card that was entirely black, and on one hand it's like, this looks really cool, and on the other hand it's like, all right.
Yeah, it's recognizable
Yep.
at the very least.
But
Both Thomas Vaccaro and Kat Deming in the chat have started a hashtag. I think they probably were typing it at the exact same time, which is keep Beach City free of guacola.
yes. And
Which, along with don't be selfish, is really the moral of this episode.
Yeah, pretty much. I loved Steven the roadie. I loved, I'll protect you, Dad. Don't worry, I have a hose.
Yeah.
And then
So
at the
great.
end of it, the whole reason Marty showed up, which we got a little at the beginning and then we got completely sidetracked, was that he was legally obligated to pass something on to Greg, and that something is a check for $10 million.
What?
Which, woot.
Which brings us into Mr. Greg. And
Oh,
watching
Mr. Greg.
the end of this and going, okay, you know, his song got licensed. It's popular in a Japanese commercial. Like, something happened where his song got licensed and transformed in some way, and it's the rights.
Yeah.
And then we put on Mr. Greg, and I'm like, pick up the phone. I called it. Pepe's Burgers.
Rose would have loved it. Rose
That,
would have loved it.
I
my
loved
God.
that moment. I mean, it just started off on such a strong sort of emotional beat for what this whole episode was going to be about,
It
where
stayed
they
strong.
watched, you know, the jingle that his song had been turned into, which still sounded pretty cool, by the way.
It still sounded like an 80s rock ballad.
And he basically,
good, too.
and he was like, you know, do you
This
think...
was a Carl's Jr. commercial,
yeah,
right?
it was definitely
No,
Carl's Jr.
I would rather watch that commercial than Carl's
than
Jr.
actual Carl's Jr. commercials.
Actual Carl's Jr. / Hardee's / whatever you call it in Virginia nowadays, commercials are terrible.
Yeah, Anyway, but this was kind of fun, and then they were talking about the song, and when they commented on like, hey, you know, do you think Rose would have liked this song? And Pearl's comment basically being like, she would have loved it.
And she blushes a little and it's just like, oh, we are going there and we are setting up camp and we are okay.
You could also tell, like, her also, not disgust with the commercial, but she's genuinely perplexed.
Yeah.
She's like, this was the thing that won over the woman I love.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing that made her choose
But
you
it wasn't
over
about
me.
hamburgers at the time.
No, and I mean the thing is too, and so much of this show it is about the fact that like fundamentally Pearl just can't grasp why Rose Quartz chose Greg. She just deals with the fact that she did.
And I love that we actually address that in this
Yeah.
episode, and that it's not just this festering wound that we're gonna leave for the rest of forever, because character development.
Yeah.
And just the whole, we're skipping ahead, who cares? The whole it's over bit. Just,
That song
because
has been
it
in my
was
head for
perfect,
days.
and it was so well sung, and it was so well orchestrated, and it
And
killed
animated,
me.
it had the beautiful anime sparkles and you know, the rose and the top hat and the suit, and it was wonderful. And
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna lie here and be in pain for, we're not done. We're gonna continue.
Yeah.
I will say that self-medicating with maraschino cherries is something I have done.
Oh, that was so... I
It
basically
helps.
just cried through this whole episode and like crying again right now a little bit.
But I love the little humor beats that we had, like the guy just playing the piano and Steven kicking him off and him just running away.
I mean, it was
laughed
it was
so hard.
effectively one of the best ways, I think, to deal with any sort of very complex emotions is through music. I mean, you know, there's that whole musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where it's like they were possessed by like a musical theater demon, basically,
but
that makes
Buffy
you
is working through.
right, that makes you sing and dance yourself to death.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, that's when it's Buffy. There's a big thing that happens. I'm not going to spoil a like 10-year-old show for you guys, but anyway.
Good, 'cause I
But she
haven't
has
seen
to work through this very traumatic emotional experience.
Yes.
And finally, the only way she's able to communicate it to the rest of her friends is through
sing it.
song.
Yeah.
And that's when everybody's like, oh,
Yeah.
we did a bad thing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oops. And that I felt was kind of effectively what happened in this episode as well. It's like we were going to deal with this elephant in the room that we've had for the entire show at this point.
And that's been going on for the past 10, 20 years of their lives.
Yes.
Well, and not to mention, as much as an enigmatic character as Rose Quartz is, because all of the characters of the show are living in her shadow, and, we're only getting bits and pieces of her as Steven gets bits and pieces of her, the more and more we see of her, the more and more I go, she's not necessarily a great person.
No.
It's like, who...
She's certainly not this person that she is in the eyes of
Everyone
Greg
else.
and Pearl specifically, who, idolize her so much because they are in love with her. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, that is what this episode was about. It was about, you guys fundamentally you're very, very different people, but fundamentally you love the same person who is gone now, and, you should embrace each other to heal.
Because you share that one thing in common.
Yeah.
You love me and I love both of you.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, I'm going to lie here and die now. And just that whole exchange, I knew how you felt and I stayed. That wasn't the problem. The problem was that she chose you.
Yeah.
Well, she did what she wanted. It's just
And the color schemes for that whole sequence are
Yes.
wonderful too, because you've got, each of them have their own colors. But then Steven is pink and the whole background is pink. And I think it would be a little bit of a different situation if Rose Quartz was gone, but she is still alive in some way through Steven.
Which we got in the world's most awkward Steven liners. And don't forget Mom! What the...
I know, yeah. I was going to say, actually, Super Sparrow J commented on that, saying a 10-year-old that somehow has the remains of his dead mother in his belly button? Kinda.
Like a troll dog.
Kind of like a troll dog.
Pointing it out like that, especially when 2 episodes ago we had Steven floats, and what makes me happy? Mom? Boy, those feelings are complicated.
Yeah.
So just having it be don't forget Mom! That's really awkward even for you.
And kind of just, circling back to the thing about Rose, I think that we're learning is that, and it was funny because I attended the press line for Steven Universe at Comic-Con, which was amazing, and one of the things that I was actually talking about with Rebecca Sugar was that, it's so bizarre because this is a show basically about magical girls raising a little boy.
Yeah.
And yet it's so much closer to being about real people than a lot of other shows on TV because it is within this sort of fantasy magical realm. It can deal with these really real,
Rich, complex
emotions.
emotions.
Absolutely. And K-Bits pointed out, Rose hurt a lot of people by choosing to have Steven. She totally went against all things Crystal Gem, and that is one of the things that Pearl and Greg agree on, is that she always marched to the beat of her own drum, and nobody could tell her no.
And I feel like that is both a blessing and a curse for her and for everyone around her. And that's also kind of what started a revolution, let's be real.
Yeah.
Yep, and countless people and gems were killed as a result, but she did what she thought was right?
Yeah.
Question mark. We're still not entirely sure what her initial motives were.
I get the feeling we're not really going to know the whole story until Endgame.
No.
Yeah.
We're going to need diamonds on Earth in order for all of that to come out in some or any capacity.
Yeah.
Which...
This episode, man.
But yeah, just the whole aspect about learning to heal and grief and how everybody deals with grief in their own way. This was just an altogether very, very beautiful episode.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had an emotional 1-2 punch like this since Rose's Scabbard.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
This overwhelmingly painful but necessary. I don't think we've had this since, what was that, season 1? I feel like that was way
That
was
was
a long
towards
time
the
ago
end
now,
of season
yeah.
1, yeah. But it was beautiful and it was wonderful and whatever, it's fine. But yeah, and just because this show has been gone for so long, it's really nice to have a Pearl and Greg focused episode, just because it feels like it's been so long since we've actually spent time with both of these characters.
And it's nice to have one and then have it at the end be oh, we're moving forward. and know that this is the kind of show that will take that into account moving forward. They don't believe in negative continuity on this show. Everything has a reason. Which makes me question some of the episodes that they showed later on this week. I had a lot of problems with the new Lars, guys. But before we get there, let's talk about Too Short to Ride. I miss Paradise. Dang it, she's cute.
I loved this episode so much.
One of the storyboard artists made a Twitter.
Keeps coming back.
And her, like, really genuine love of that stuffed alien.
Those eyes are so expressive. That head so full of
It
knowledge.
It understands. I need it.
It was so good.
Just the whole thing was so wonderful. Just her looking at the equivalent of YouTube at a cat video going, why was this documented?
And then you have to keep it under 140 characters. That's so many people.
Yeah.
I feel like that was said to someone in real life and then made its way.
I completely agree with you.
I'm sure that happened.
Sorry, Andrew tweeted at us earlier that that one of the storyboard artists actually made that Twitter account and has been tweeting from it.
Oh my god!
There's an actual Peridot Twitter or cheaper or whatever it is.
I was gonna say, I could have had an entire episode that was just about Peridot tweeting, and then had this episode on top of it.
Her creating vlogs, her creating a Tumblr,
Peridot on Tumblr.
her creating her own Tumblr about Camp Pining Hearts.
I'm imagining this now, and it's the most beautiful flaming train wreck.
I mean, we had Steven doing an unboxing video.
We did. That was
great. Peridot needs to get on that.
Yeah. Can I just say the part of this that just kind of like, okay, we're getting over our feelings from last episode. Ooh, was her Googling, am I having fun? Just like, that's it. I'm going to lie down and die.
You brought me to a sign.
Yeah, she's so good.
You should call it Shapeshifting Land because that's all you do to have fun here. Oh, honey. And it turns out that Peridots that are made later on, and I would imagine a good number of gems that are made more recently, don't have powers because Homeworld is running low on resources. Which I guess it turns out you can only expand and conquer for so long before people get pissed off about it. Surprise.
Yeah. Well, and it's a good sort of indicator about the state of Homeworld as well. Where it's like, okay, maybe that's why they're so intent on being all conquery and stuff.
I mean, it sounds like they're depleting their resources very quickly because they are churning out armies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quantity, not quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to insult Peridot,
but she's the
but
greatest.
That's why Peridots all get technological enhancements and why she was so big on keeping them and then on getting this new tablet and being like, it's mine. And just Amethyst being real. Yeah. Amethyst doesn't do that super often.
Yeah, can I just say that Marty almost ruined the phrase real talk for me? So Amethyst,
it was good
bringing
that they
it
brought it back around with Amethyst.
And just having the full on, we like you for you, not who you think you could be or who you might be. We like you as you are now. Like, that's always a good thing to have.
Although I do think she's went a bit too far trying to throw it into the ocean. I mean, granted, the result was great. And
but that's how we found out that Peridot was miniature Magneto.
But, like, watching it, I'm like, Amethyst, that's not cool. Like, this is the only bit of, like,
I know.
anything that she has. And literally, Peridot's like, it's all that I have.
I was really pretty mad at Amethyst when she was going to throw the tablet in the water.
Like,
but then...
just because she developed powers doesn't take away that it was a terrible thing to do.
I know, but because she developed the powers, it was like such a moment of relief for me. It was like, oh, she does have powers.
And the tech support side of it was just like, there goes the warrant. Okay, good.
Yeah, she has Magneto powers.
And just using them to win ring toss. I love just the little bit with Mr. Smiley being understaffed and just, I haven't seen a bed in 6 days. Like,
that tells us so much about him.
This poor man. I'm just going to set the roller coaster on fire. I'm not falling for that again. Oh my God. I just feel
I'm not getting sued again.
I just feel so bad for this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you get so much about him and about his character just from this one episode, and the fact that he won't stop smiling even through the pain.
Yep. And the temporary but horrifying return of cat fingers.
Oh,
just for a moment like that happened, I was like,
I know, I was traumatized. I immediately had flashbacks.
That
we have
weird
another,
Akira
You know that's
episode.
why they put it in.
we have another hashtag surfacing in the chat. I believe simultaneously created by Renji, Super Sparrow J, and Standing by Life, which is hashtag Magnadot. Basically talking about how we're gonna how everyone thinks that we're gonna basically discover that Peridot sort of has Magneto powers, and I'm cool
We
with that.
just discovered that.
Totally cool with
Metal
that.
Which
powers.
her doing like the little windmill and like reeling it in like it's a
Every
fishing
move
line.
point, we're just sitting there going, steal third. That's what she's doing, right? Steal third. All right, do we have any last thoughts on Too Short to Ride?
Just shorty squad, yo.
Shorty Squad.
Shorty
was
Squad.
great.
I know, and in the end, like she didn't attribute it to her. She didn't attribute her success and her getting her alien that she wanted so badly just to her. They were like, "Yay, Peridot for the win!" And she's like, "Nah, Shorty Squad. It was great." Like she's
made
trying,
friends.
She's trying so hard to understand what it is to be friends with people, and
I love that we've introduced her to the concept of lying, but she still doesn't really get it until they point it out. And
I know,
I
they're
got
like,
Steele Stevens
"We're
close and he's not
lying."
looking. What?
yeah, it was good.
I feel like it's fun to have a Peridot episode because you can just do stuff like that. It's how do I people condensed.
And I love that the alien thing came back because the shorts that she was initially very intrigued by had alien heads on them.
Yeah.
And it's like, I recognize that. It was so great.
it was a nice episode.
Yes, and Jaron Jefferson, I agree with you. Peridot will lead the army of metal benders because that was my first thought. I was like, she's a metal bender.
That's what I have in my notes. Peridot's a metal bender.
If that doesn't come back in a really epic way towards Endgame, I will be real disappointed.
Like I said, they don't put anything in here without a purpose.
Oh.
That said, let's swing into the new Lars.
If I can just make one comment from
Do
the
it.
chat that I thought was very
Do it.
interesting. Jack Harkness says, shouldn't her magnetism have wiped out the tablet software?
Different kind of
Case in point.
magnetism.
Depends, I
Different
suppose.
kind of.
I don't know. I kind of picture it in the way that like Pyrrha from Ruby has polarity as her powers.
Yeah.
Like
It doesn't mean it murders technology. It just means that you can occasionally go, "You come to me,"
That and a lot of-
pull someone over by the fillings in their teeth.
and a lot of devices actually do actively try to protect against that.
Yeah.
At the moment now. So
But you still can't put hotel keys next to your phone anymore.
I actually think you can.
Oh no, I just got that lecture. Like I said, I went somewhere
I was
for a
gonna
work
say,
conference, and
I do that all the time.
you're not
Whoops.
supposed to. It demagnetizes them.
Wah, wah.
Anyway, so let's
Moving
talk
on.
about the new Lars. And I have to say, this was my least favorite episode this week, and I was
I'm like-
extremely uncomfortable
I was like, I'm
watching
really
it.
interested to hear why you disliked it so much.
I was just bottom line consent issues. I was extremely uncomfortable just watching this go down. And those of you who watch the reaction videos, it hasn't been rendered yet because rendering takes 86,000 hours of my life. But you'll be able to see this. I was clutching a pillow, leaning into the couch, extremely uncomfortable watching this. And I don't usually ever feel sorry for Lars, but man, I felt for him after this one.
Yeah, because we
It's not
again
okay.
we're only getting all of these characters from Steven's point of view,
Right.
and we, as members of the audience who are a little bit more clued into what all these social cues mean, definitely pick up on the fact that what he's doing is not a good thing.
Right, but I think that the episode was spun in a way that Steven was not doing a good thing. It was, for me...
I liked it.
But that
Yeah.
didn't make it any less uncomfortable to watch.
I don't know. I think if it were not... Here's the thing. So the character of Steven is like Usagi on like cocaine and steroids. Like he's that amount of just like love and innocence and goodness. And so everything that Steven was doing while he was in Lars's body was coming from a good place. It doesn't make it okay by any means, but I'm just saying that like, and that, I think that was the point of the episode, that it was like, just because you are a good, loving person and like you think that you know what is going to be best for people. Like, you are not them.
Exactly. A lot of time, and this is something that happens a lot in real life. A lot of friends are like, I have friends, and my friends should get together and be happy, and it'll be perfect. And it's like, you don't always, like, your intentions are good, but you don't always know what's best for other people.
Yeah.
You're not living their life.
Exactly.
To everyone who has attempted to hook me up with someone.
Yeah.
But again, we're meant to feel uncomfortable. We're meant to be
100%.
we're meant to like cringe as Lars Steven is talking to the cool kids.
And this is the thing, is it launched in with Steven being extremely uncomfortable. But as soon as he was like, oh man, Lars's parents seem really nice, and he like said something nice to them that made them feel good and they reacted positively, he's like, oh man, I'm gonna do a great job at being Lars. And so that's how it started to spiral out of control.
Yeah.
Just all of this was...
And I don't like Lars in any capacity, but I like Sadie a lot. And
Sadie does not need Lars in her life.
No.
This
so
is
we
just-
think. I don't know.
God.
This is the thing, though, is again, it's that message of, and it's a conversation that I have had with friends in real life when they want to very quickly pass judgment on how somebody else is reacting to a situation in their life, which is that you are not them. And I think that was absolutely, again, the message of this episode, because in the end, when Steven and Lars confront each other about the fact that Steven was in Lars's body, and he says to him, like, and Lars is like, man, it seems like everybody really liked me better as you. And he's like, not everybody. Like, Sadie didn't like me better.
Yeah, the one person that it probably mattered the most to him.
The one person that Steven wanted to make the happiest, he just ended up hurting.
Exactly. And so, like, yeah, I feel bad for Lars in an insane capacity, because there are these people who have these expectations of him. He wants to impress the cool kids, and obviously his parents want the best for him, and he can't live up to what they want for him.
Yeah.
Whether that he's unwilling to try or if he's incapable of living up to two different things. But again, we don't really know. We're only seeing it from this very narrow perspective. I don't like him.
Chat?
Yeah. So, no, continue, and then because this is all about Lars.
I was just saying, I don't like him as a character, but in this moment, I'm like, that has to hurt so much, knowing that all of these people liked a version of you that didn't exist, and they don't actually like you.
Yeah, I was acting weird all day, and you all just liked it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Admittedly, he spends most of his time acting like a complete dick, so...
That's
he's
true.
a teenager.
Yeah.
I mean, you learn and you grow
I
out
made
of a
it
lot
through
of
my
things.
teenage years without being a complete dick.
Well, you are in the 1%.
And again,
I
you
said
learn.
complete.
A lot of people learn
That's
and they
a
grow
level.
out of stuff like that.
Yeah. So this is just circling back to being like, Sadie doesn't need Lars. And it's like, guys, you're not her. Don't judge. However, Sadie deserves, Thomas Macara says, Sadie deserves someone who is not Lars. I bet Lars drinks Guac-Cola. Cat Deming says, hashtag Sadie don't need no man. Lots of people actually say Standing by Life says the same thing. K-Bit says, I bet Lars is friends with Kevin.
I would love to see Lars versus Kevin. Let's just take the few people in Beach City who have virtually no redeeming qualities and lock them in a room and see what happens.
So Lars and Ronaldo.
I would take Ronaldo out of it, partially because he'd get eaten alive, and partially because the show has framed him as having something more there, where they really haven't done that with Lars.
I disagree.
And Kevin is obviously
I'm the other way around.
Cutout.
Oh my God, Kevin.
I'm the other way around. I would take Lars over Ronaldo. I don't like either of them. But yeah, this.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Maybe Sadie don't need no man. We can't say whether or not she does. But what she does deserve, Sadie deserves to be happy.
Yeah.
Damn Skippy.
So whatever makes her happy.
I agree.
Yep.
Listen, maybe it's just
This
because I
episode,
have
you
liked
guys.
a lot of really terrible people. So, anyway.
I just, and what intrigues me about this is that, like I've been saying, this show does not introduce stuff and then leave it hanging. Everything comes back. Steven can possess human beings.
That is a thing.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
that is weird.
Because we
That's
knew
that's gotta come back somehow.
we knew his astral projection was a thing that he could, when it came to plant life, that he had a connection with the watermelons because he created them. And Rose had that connection and she could control plant life.
And we knew that he could kind of go places because we saw fun little dream sequences in Chillatid.
Yeah, in terms of like wandering into Lapis's mind. This is the first time he's full on possessed another
That
person.
is true.
And that it's not a body swap, it's just taken over. Like, Steven is temporarily a yerk. It's just...
A yerk. For
Tell
that
me I'm
Animorphs reference out there for you guys.
Now you know what I grew up with.
The
Tell me I'm
90s were a
wrong.
magical time.
They were
what
a great
time to
time.
be alive.
What
Everybody
a time to be alive. Which is exactly
before you were born.
Yeah, exactly how this episode started.
So yeah, I'm waiting to see how this comes back because it has to. This is too weird of an episode for the whole premise of Steven can be inside human beings and take them over.
Oh yeah,
Not
that'll
to come back.
100% come back.
Can he do it with gems?
I don't know.
We'll see.
I'm sure that'll
Only
come
the
up with be
future
super
will
fun.
tell.
I have to say, I like Lars is gonna be psyched. Buck is pleased, and Buck is no longer pleased.
That was pretty
random
funny.
third-person jokes. God bless.
Yup.
So that was weird.
It was.
And we move on to Beach City Drift, which is the last one we got this week. That's also why we started with Born to be Wild, because I have a terrible sense of humor. We got Stevani back.
Yeah.
For all the wrong reasons.
Love them. They are the best.
For
Yup.
all the wrong reasons. And what got me is that we had the conversation about Kevin and how he kept insisting that they dance even though they didn't want to, and he didn't respect their wishes. And I'm like, I'm sorry, now we have an episode about consent? Now?
Stephen, didn't you learn just a thing just yesterday or
It's
whatever
a little
that was?
late!
I mean, I feel like that was intentional to be like, remember that time, Steven, when you did the exact same thing?
You should maybe not.
Yeah.
I love that the car of Greg's dreams is a Dondai Supremo,
Wow.
and that it's newsed.
Dad on board.
And that evidently he still has some of the money left after Mr. Greg, which wasn't something I expected to happen. But
I know, I kind of thought they were going to use up all the money in Mr. Greg, but I was glad to find that they
What do
still have
I care? I'm rich.
that was great.
It was great. Yeah.
And that he still wants to live in the van, and his dream car is used, and he still works the car wash. Like, he's still Greg.
Yeah, like
He's one
to
of
the
the
point
few
he doesn't
people that
want
still
to buy a
themselves.
house because the van is home.
Well, and he has that mansion that he inherited from his aunt and uncle somewhere.
Did he inherit a mansion?
Yes.
I don't recall that.
I
was
feel
that?
like this has been mentioned. It was like a one-off that got mentioned somewhere a long time ago.
Because if that's the case, I would absolutely love an episode where they have to go and spend the night in the haunted house.
mansion!
It would be so much better than the horror club episode, which should have been amazing,
Yeah.
but wasn't.
Yep.
I like the horror club episode. Wasn't
was
the
alright.
best thing on the planet, but it was fun.
I was gonna say that's the episode which shows why Ronaldo is worse than Lars, because Ronaldo is an attempted murderer.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think I would take Lars, like, because Lars is just kind of there. He's just kind of like an average teenage jerk face,
I
and
think I
like,
could take them both.
Anyway,
I'm meaner.
To get back to this
so
episode.
we have Kevin showing up because he's still a jerk. Let's be real.
he's still the worst.
Kevin is a cardboard cutout of a human being, and occasionally we just need them, but he's the second cardboard cutout we've had this week.
But I really, because we had Marty earlier.
Oh,
Marty
But
is definitely.
I really appreciated that they brought him back, though, because everybody has known someone like that.
Yeah.
Where they just get under your skin, they get you riled up, and you really want to stick it to them, even though that's not what you should be wasting your time and energy
Right,
on.
which is exactly what, because I mean, basically his whole thing with with Stevani is like, oh, you're so obsessed with me, and then like Steven and Connie come to realize they're like, oh man, he made us fuse, we are obsessed with him.
Yeah.
And that was a really good realization.
Yeah.
And you pointed this out when we were talking about it earlier, is that it's Steven who's really, really outwardly angry at Kevin, is that it's the guy in this relationship who's so pissed off that it happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, did we just have a rape culture episode?
I mean, it was
Slightly.
a little bit. I mean, I did like that it addressed, again, the consent issue. I think it was kind of like we we sort of
Well, and-
bookended it with like awful dad and like awful like
Human being.
doesn't respect other humans person.
Well, and it's good to illustrate that the consent thing is an issue with men too.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh
For
yeah.
everyone.
So yeah, it's not just solely a girl
Yeah,
problem.
it's
It is
not-
an everyone problem.
Yes. And this is also an example of if you give them what they want, they win.
Yeah.
And he wants, again, he said
wants
he's
to
like,
get a rise out of
I'm like this because I think it's funny, and
Right.
that perfectly sums up his character. He gets a thrill out of really getting people angry and bothering people, and he's entitled and rich enough to get away with it.
And the sob story about his non-existent ill little brother, and I act like this because if I don't show anyone the pain, maybe the pain will go away.
I feel
Lol, psych.
I feel like that's like a reference to a racing anime, probably.
I was gonna say there was a lot
I'm
of
sure it
racer
is.
speed racer.
I mean,
stuff in this.
And the drifting, like,
Well, Ian Jones Cordy did say that there was some Initial D influence in this episode. It's
I'm
not
sure
a
there
series I'm like super. I mean, like I certainly know what it is, but I'm not like super familiar with it. So if anybody in the chat can like point out some specific references, I'm down.
I feel like racing anime is one of those subgenres where you are either really into it or you
just-
have no idea.
Yeah.
With
Because
the exception of Speed Racer, because that's the background radiation
because
of every
go
anime
Speed
fan's
Racer
life.
go.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, Initial D is one of those animes that I've heard of.
Yep.
And
Same.
I've seen the arcade games, and
Yep.
I know it's about racing.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
is
And
it a
there's
yellow
cars.
car? I feel like it's a yellow
think it's a
car.
yellow
Probably is a
car.
yellow
That might have
car.
been part
Probably
of
is.
it.
But yeah, I mean, and I like that once, Steven and Connie come to this realization and they basically go, oh, well, and Connie says, I still want to finish this race, but not because of him. I want to finish it for us. I want to do it
Yeah.
our way. And they lose.
But
Because
I
he
love
somehow manages to round a corner after he's kicked in nitro. Nitro's something you want on a straightaway.
Yeah.
You try to round a corner going that fast, you will die.
you will flip.
Like,
But
this is a bad thing.
But I love that, they got their sparkle back, which, was
Yes.
something that was lacking this entire episode because they fused for the wrong reason. And the cool thing about Stevani was that sparkle, they enchanted everybody that they came across. And they got that back because they fused for the right reasons this time. And, not bad for my first time driving.
Yeah.
Second place isn't so bad for my first time driving a car. Like,
Yeah.
that is the best mic drop you
Yeah.
could have asked for. And she was they were driving a stick, weren't they?
It was definitely, there were
Yeah.
gears. There were
Pretty sure
a lot
they
of
were driving
shifting.
a stick. Yep, there's a
There's
yellow
a yellow car in Initial
Okay.
D for sure. Though I feel like the car that Stevani was driving was more of a reference to the other one, which in some of the other images that were scrolling up there also looked more like silver. So
Yeah.
I know that Initial D it is about him like fixing up like the family's like not as good car. So anyway,
I did love and again, you really like this, your two kids in a beautiful trench coat act.
yes.
Which, first of all, like, I know he was weirded out in that episode. It was like, whoa, two kids, gotta go. But, like, the fact that two kids have come together to make this person, like, that doesn't bother anyone. Like, no one is phased. No one in Beach City is phased by anything.
Right, by the fact
Right.
that like Steven and Connie combine and suddenly they're like
There's another human being.
a young
They're a
woman.
new
Yeah.
person.
All right.
And, but yeah, the two kids' beautiful trench coat thing, probably my favorite line
That was
in
really
Steven
good.
Universe to date.
Yep.
It was amazing.
Two kids in a beautiful trench coat.
I feel like I'd have to go back through my notes to find my favorite line, like for some of these other episodes, because I know they've had ones where I'm just like, yes.
I would have liked a hug.
I enjoyed that. Just made me really happy. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, quintessential Pearl, and then Amethyst. Wait, no, I'm thinking of Lapis.
Such
So
good
I
stuff.
really liked Stephen Floats. Yeah. Do we have any final thoughts on Beach City Drift?
It's nice to see all these characters again.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really all I got.
I think it was better than Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift.
Well, yeah. Well, and I think overall we had a very strong start to this next month and some
Yeah.
change of Steven Universe
Yeah.
episodes. It wasn't a perfect week, but we had a really good
Yeah.
week.
No, I'm definitely excited to see where else it goes.
I will say, looking forward, I know there have been leaks online. I know people are leaking spoilers. People who have worked on the show have come out on Twitter and said, please do not look at the leaks. Please do not go looking for spoilers. Things will be ruined if you look for spoilers for yourself. So evidently, something big is coming down the line in week 3 and week 4, and they really don't want us to be spoiled for that. So from here, we're going to ask you to respect the creator. Emma's bouncing.
I'm so excited,
She's so
guys.
happy.
I love the
You
show.
are bouncing in your seat.
But from here on in, let's respect the creators' wishes.
Yeah.
Don't spread spoilers. Don't go looking for them. We're finally getting a consistent airing schedule. We are getting at least 5 episodes a week. Let it come.
And
just let it come.
I also want to say thank you to everybody who did not tweet direct spoilers at us
Yes!
during this past week. I was definitely concerned about that because definitely I had people texting me about these episodes, but nobody direct tweeted me anything.
Yeah.
I am incredibly impressed that I was a week behind on literally everything I was watching. Red vs. Blue, Ruby, Camp, this. And nobody tweeted me any spoilers.
Yep.
I didn't get spoiled for a dang thing. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
I can't knock on wood, but
and I think this is because we've all been on shows where people were tweet us spoilers the day before or 3 hours before. So just you know, guys,
so keep up
be
the
smart about your
amazing
time
work.
zones.
Yeah. That's why I like
Yeah.
sticking with Sailor Moon Crystal, because like it's the exact same thing that happens in the manga. So like, there's no chance.
You're good. You're good.
So I've
covered.
definitely had some. Hey, this aired in East Coast. Let's tweet it to. Oh, please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Oh, yeah.
I love you. I'll see it in 3 hours. Please do
During
not send
Agents
me
of
spoilers.
S.H.I.E.L.D. season, I have to like throw my phone away.
I get it
for
for
a few
Arrow.
hours.
I love my Arrow fans, but I think a lot of them just get really excited and don't think about the fact that I'm in Pacific time. It's like, you guys are great. I want you to breathe.
Yep.
Anyway, we're definitely still talking about Steven Universe, and we're getting close to wrap up. I want to talk to you real fast about iTunes, because, guys, this is our bread and butter. If you like the show, if you would like us to do more of the show, the best thing you can do to help us out is go on to iTunes, find the show on iTunes. If you search AfterBuzz TV Steven Universe, you should be able to find it. Rate, comment, subscribe. If you leave a review, leave us 5 stars. Let us know that you love us, because that lets our producers know that you love us. And then they're like, we should keep this show on, despite the fact that its airing schedule is just completely wonky. And here we are. Back after, like, what, 6 months?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, like, when was the last time that we read? Because we definitely have a bunch of reviews, but I'm like, I don't know what the last one was
We had
that
one
we
in
read.
June, and then prior to that, it was January.
So we read
did
the
we
ones
have
from
it in
January and February?
Did we
we
have?
have?
We
I don't
might
know.
not have had
Anyway,
internet access at the time.
Anyway,
we had a we had a show during the last Steven block.
Right.
And I think that was like June-ish. I don't know.
Well, anyway, for everyone,
Hit the old ones.
anyone who's left reviews in 2016, you are great.
Let's go February on.
Great. So there's one from February, which is from Kika Rocks 672. It's just entitled "Thanks, 5 stars." Hey, first discovered you guys on Star Wars Rebels after show. Love the mix of Emma, Megan, and yes, even Katie's "everyone will die" attitude. So when I heard that you all not only are all together on a podcast, but it was a Steven Universe, let's just say I died of happiness. Keep up the amazing work you do. Hashtag Gem Rebel Squad. I like it.
Gem Rebel Squad.
Yeah. We like having iTunes reviews. It makes us real happy. Thanks.
So yeah, and if you leave a review, you do get a shout out on the show. Reviews take a couple of days to post, so if you want to get in for next week's, leave it as soon as possible.
Yeah, do it now.
But yeah, no, we seriously appreciate it. Find us on iTunes, rate, comment, subscribe, subscribe on YouTube, all of that fun stuff. I think we might have time for some super quick predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I like it.
What do we think we're looking at for next week? Or just for the rest of the season?
Steamboat Willie Lapis.
Perfect.
Boop, boop. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at the titles for next week. I'm really excited. I really want to see where this is going.
Yeah.
We haven't had a good Garnet episode in a while. I feel like
Yeah.
we're overdue for one of those. And Jasper is sitting
Coming
up on
back.
Chekhov's mantle
Yeah,
at this
for
point.
sure.
She is coming back.
She's on the
got it.
horizon.
Yeah,
and
it's
we
gonna
know
be awesome.
we're getting bismuth. So that should be fun and interesting.
Are we? For sure?
Yes, that was released.
I didn't look because I thought it might have been a spoiler. You told me not to look at those.
It's fair.
And it was an official press release. I haven't actually watched any of the clips that have been featured, but I've seen the image and I've seen the we're getting a new character, this is her name. I'm like, okay, and she's played by someone from Orange is the New Black. Uzo, I cannot remember to save my life. But yeah, that should be fun and interesting.
Yeah.
I am excited.
Yep. I liked, and I just wanted to give a shout out to Rainy Days Draws in the chat. I did notice your aquamarine fan fusion of Lapis and Pearl. It's really pretty.
It was great. It's so good.
Yeah, it's really good. So thanks for drawing that and sending it our way.
Which, and I know we're not probably going to get it for anytime soon, but Lapis and Peridot fusions with the rest of the gems, it's got to happen at some point. I would love it.
I feel like we got to fix some trust issues
Super
first.
Sparrow J, this is the last prediction, and then we're wrapping up the show. Says Kevin turns into a dragon, and now it's Ruby.
Stop, Kevin. 2K16.
Thank you.
That was a lovely reference to our Ruby panel.
We need to wrap up this show.
I love everyone in
engineers.
this temple.
Yes.
You guys are wonderful human beings. All right, thank you so much for joining us. We're finally back. We will be back, same bat time, same bat channel next week. It's going to be great.
Yes.
Emma, where can the people find you?
Well, you can find me all over the internet at my name, Emma Fyffe, EMMAFYFFE. If you are listening, that is all F's as in Fred, no S's as in snake. They tend to sound the same on the phone or when they're recorded and transmitted into your ears. In addition to always being able to find me on my wonderful Sailor Moon podcast, Love and Justice, which you can also find in the iTunes store, you can find me back here on the Thursday with everybody else at this table. And the wonderful Alexis McLeod Torres. We will be talking Voltron, the Legendary Defender. That'll be Thursday at 10 p.m. We're very, very excited. We hope you guys can join us. Megan.
Yes, Megan, where can the people find you? Aside from in Lion Hell.
But besides in just a state of Cloud 9 bliss talking about Voltron, you guys can follow me on Twitter at @TheMenguin. That's TheMenguan. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for The Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out.
And I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and YouTube at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. I am also on Snapchat at Kia Prime. I talk about many of the things. YouTube is mostly reaction videos at this point, so if you want to see me go completely insane while watching these shows, that's a good place to do it. We have Red vs. Blue this week. It is Wednesday at 7 p.m. We are going to be talking about the Merc Trio and the Fight the Good Fight PSA. And we're starting Voltron, you guys. I am so excited to talk about giant robot lions with everyone.
I'm really excited.
Guess who everyone's favorite character is. Just guess. Tweet it at us. We'll let you know.
Yeah, tweet who you think our favorite Voltron characters are at us, and we will let you know on Thursday if you are right.
I feel like it's fairly obvious for everyone involved, and we probably all have the same one, let's be real. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next week.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.